Hi there, I'm Dr. Adrienne Matheson, a registered psychologist. Today I'm going to talk about picky eating. It's a very common scenario that families sit down at the supper table and their children say that they're not going to eat something. This can be frustrating for the parents and for the child. It can also be very worrisome for the parents because they're concerned that their child isn't getting enough of the foods that they need for healthy development. There are many ways that we can support healthy feeding in a way that is not stressful and negative at mealtime. And I'm going to talk about some of those ways today. The first thing to remember is that children are familiar and comfortable with some foods and less comfortable with other foods. So it's not realistic to expect that those second foods that they're not so comfortable with, they're going to just put in their mouth, chew, and swallow. What I would suggest with foods like that is you think of it more as a hierarchy, and you help your child move up the steps to actually putting the food in their mouth, chewing it, and swallowing it. The first step might be to just let them touch it to their skin, or maybe try it on their tongue, or smell it, or kiss it. And that's a huge success. We reward that success, we put the food away, and we move on. The second tip that I'm going to offer you today is to make sure you're not saying to your child to eat it. Feeding is actually not a natural thing that we learn that we just automatically know how to do. We learn how to eat through the various stages of feeding development. So for foods that are tricky for us to eat or scary or the taste is unfamiliar, it's not really realistic to ask our kids to just eat it. So I encourage you to try using the words "try it" instead. The third tip that I think is really helpful in encouraging kids to eat foods that are not so familiar to them is to have fun with the food. Don't be afraid to play with it. Don't be afraid to let them put it in their mouth and spit it out if it's a bit too scary or overwhelming for them. Try to keep everything positive and fun, and that will encourage them to try different things and go outside of their comfort zone. And over time, they'll become more comfortable with that food and eventually start eating it. There are many people in the field supporting feeding challenges. It's a very common problem. If you think that your child is struggling with feeding challenges or you're worried that they're not getting enough of the foods that they need, please seek support from somebody in your community that can help build your child's feeding repertoire. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.